Alright, I wanted to show you the finished piece here. Now, let me explain to you what I did. Alright, I showed you how to carve the figures, and then I just went ahead and painted them. Now, you don't have to paint them the way I did. I used the more of the neutral colors. In other words, I wanted the old guys to look old, and what I did is I cut some small branches. If you can see these right here, these are just small branches that I cut off, and that's what they're sitting on. I just glued their bottoms onto these branches and then glued it onto the base here. And I did it for both guys. And then how I created, I did the same thing that the checkerboard is sitting on, okay? And I made the checkerboard look old, like they'd been going through a long time. And what I did, how I made the checkerboard, is I just took a piece of, I got on the computer and I found a picture of a checkerboard, and I just miniaturized it by photocopying it down to the size that I wanted to, and then I glued that piece onto I think that's about a 1/16 or an 1/8, probably an 1/8 of an inch piece of, you can buy it at craft hobby stores and stuff like that. Plywood. It's like plywood. It can be basswood, it can be plywood, but you can buy it at Hobby Lobby. It's real thin, like 1/8 inch craft wood, and I glued it onto there, and then I just glued it onto to the little branch right here, and that is the table, the little table that the checkerboard sits on. And then I placed my two guys. One of them is making a move on the checkerboard, but I made it all antiqued it quite a bit. Now you don't glue them to these things, these pieces of branch, until you get through with your finishing. Don't glue it and then try to paint them. Don't do that. Paint them before you glue them onto your your branch here. I'm sorry, it's just little branches that I cut off. And the same thing here. You want to finish up your little checkerboard, and I kind of faded the checkerboard a little bit so it looked like it'd been an old piece or something like that. So it just sits right here, and they're sitting from one another playing checkers. And if you look at as I turn the piece, in other words, you can see that they're just sitting on little branches. It'd be like sitting on stumps. One thing about checkers, people can play checkers anywhere, and they'll just throw a thing out there or whatever it is, and just play like that. So if you look at that, you'll do it. Just 1 second. Let me find something here. Okay. What you do is so you've got your piece that you have here in such a way, and so this is our little player. This part is really simple. Now, you don't have to use a branch. I just had some limb branches that I used when I made the woodcutter. And you can use a dowel if you get a big enough dowel. They sit on it because these are small figures. And the same thing here. You can just use a dowel on the and you just glue them on there, and you have your two little checker players sitting there. Of course, he is waiting to make his move, and he's got a look on his face. In other words, that you know, he's watching the moves. Checker players, old checker players, they watch one another, and so this is the little checker player scene. And as you can see, the hands are over here, and I put a cigar in his mouth, but they're all painted up. And that, I thought about putting a checkered shirt on him, but I thought, no, I'll just keep it that way. And that's the thing about old checker players. They used to get in the middle of squares at places, and they played checkers anywhere. So that was what I wanted to try to get out of this in such a way, with the old worn-out checkerboard and stuff that they play with. And so there is the little piece called. This is how I carve out these two little miniature checker players. And basically, if you look at this, taking a ruler, this little scene stands about when they're sitting at probably about 2.5 inches tall is all this stands. Now the whole thing stands about 3.5, but the figures stand about 2.5 inches tall when it's all over. In other words, now this one's got a hat on, so yeah, it's about 2.5 inches tall. So it's a very small scene, as you can see. It's a very small. I get these bases. I got that base at Hobby Lobby, and I just it's a pine base, and I just. But as you know, I have very neutral colors. You could color these a whole lot more in such a way, but this is our two checker players that we've done. Okay, well, God bless you now. Thank you, and this has been a real fun thing. We'll do some more, possibly little scenes and stuff like that, but this is just a very small miniature scene that stands only 2.5 inches tall and probably no more than 2 or 2.5 inches wide. With the base and everything like that. I think the base is no, the base is 3 inches wide. So this is a very small scene, and like I said, you can find this checker player board type stuff on any eBay, whatever it is, in other words, and you just take the picture and you glue it onto, you want to photocopy it down the size and glue it onto the piece, 1/8 inch piece, and then you glue it on to the thing here, and the little base, which is like I said, a dowel big enough, and I'm not sure how big this is, but that a dowel 3/4 or something like that, or 1/2 inch will probably work for if you just want to make them, if you don't have any branches. A dowel 1/2 or 3/4 or 5/8 will work. So okay, God bless you now.